Today, I'm joined by a good friend of mine, a fire shooter. Phil, welcome to the podcast, dude.
Yo, Mike, thank you for having me, bro. We talked about doing it. I'm glad we got to make it happen for sure.
And here we are, dude. How would you describe yourself to someone who's never heard of you?
I don't know. See, that's a pretty good question. It's kind of hard to take on the role of being like, I got referenced as a professional cameraman the other day, and like, it just sounds weird, you know? Like, I'm still like not even used to that title. I'm kind of just like a chill dude, man. A chill dude that wants to do some stuff, I guess. I like to have a good time. I like to be easygoing, and when it comes to like making content and whatnot, I just like to be natural. So I'd say a natural, cool, chill dude. That's it.
Yeah.
Organic, bro. Organic.
And another thing too that I want to like start doing in my podcast, because it's the Mike Squires and Friends podcast, is explaining how you and I are friends and all my guests going forward. So like, how did we end up connecting?
I was thinking about that when we were just talking prior, and it's definitely Brandon.
That's what I
assumed. It was our mutual connection who bridged us together. But as soon as we met, great connection right away. I already knew that you were authentic and genuine just right off the bat. And I admire that. That's like the biggest thing. Like what you guys see on social media is like, that's Mike in real life. So that's a huge thing, is transparency. But I think it was like the food
it must have been the food festival,
I think it was,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think that was like the first time we met in person for sure.
Yeah, and Brandon's like you, Brandon, and Melodia, and everybody was with me when I did my parade shenanigan.
Oh, yeah. That was a great day. That day actually kind of opened up my eyes into like having fun with your boys, but also being productive. Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like doing good work, but like also having a good time. Like I literally, it was a good time. Like we laughed. Segi, I met Segi that day.
Segi's hilarious,
great dude. And even him being so deep into the game with the videography, and bro, I was like a noob. I'm like, I still consider myself like a real amateur with it, regardless of how well the content's doing.
I gotta have Segi on the pod. I think that'd be a fun episode, dude.
Yeah, you put Segi and Mike together, those guys are just like, purebred. It's great. But yeah, he was super helpful. He wanted to right away give me tips or advice or answer any questions I had for him, and I really appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, so I put out a thing the other day, looking for podcast guests. And obviously I've known you for a long time now. But what I learned is from that post I made is like, I may have a lot of friends, but I don't know all of their stories, dude. And, you shared some things with me that I want to get into today. So, let's start by, what was it like growing up in Stanford for you?
So I'm pretty much as Stanford as they come. I like to believe, at least. I grew up in North Stanford, had a great childhood. I went to Northeast Elementary.
Me too, dude.
Great school.
Yeah. Dr. Margolis?
Dr. Margolis, can still name all my teachers. Then I went on from there. I went to Schofield Town Middle School.
Me too, dude. That's
Get
crazy.
out of here.
Yeah.
Were you white team or black team?
Oh, man.
Or I was white, black, gold.
I was white.
Silver, turquoise,
No,
purple.
me too. Yeah, I was white, black, gold. Yeah.
Right on.
That's
All right,
crazy, dude.
That's another mutual bond we got right
yeah,
there.
That's
but
crazy.
I love Schofield.
Mr. Freeman, dude.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, bro, Mr. Freeman was hands down the best teacher.
Do you remember Paris in the spring?
No.
That lesson? It was like, it's actually a lesson, and I didn't mean to cut you off, but it was a lesson that really stuck with me. I might have to throw this graphic up, and it's hard for me to explain, but like, here's the graphic, right? Now, if someone reads it, a lot of times they'll read it as Paris in the spring.
Oh, there's two thes.
But there's two thes, and the point that he was trying to make is that people don't notice all your mistakes. You know what I mean? And that's like always stuck with me.
Powerful.
So yeah,
that's super Mr. Freeman.
Yeah, and especially being a creative as an adult now, it's like the things that you're hyper focusing on might not be as, people aren't going to care as much as you think.
No, 100%.
But let's get back to it, dude.
Yeah,
Schofield.
Mr. Freeman was dope. He actually taught my father when he was young. So like right off the bat, there was like a little mutual connection that we had. And hands down was just like one of the best vibes I've caught from a teacher. All about the kids. Very like, he was just like one of us, but just in a grown man's body. You know, everybody loved Mr. Freeman. I never heard anybody say anything bad about him.
He was the nicest man.
Yeah, he was dope. And
I don't know what he's up to now.
Yeah, I hope he's doing all right and that he's healthy, because, he did nothing but make kids laugh and smile. Very rarely did I ever see him get.
He was my homeroom teacher too.
He was my homeroom teacher too, bro.
Crazy,
That
dude.
is funny, bro. That is too good.
Things are starting to make more sense in real time, dude.
We're figuring things out as we go here. So yeah, Mr. Freeman was dope. And then from Schofield, I went on to Trinity Catholic for 2 quarters of my freshman year. From there, went to West Hill.
Okay.
Till my junior year. Got in trouble, came back and graduated from Stanford High. So like did like a full tour a little bit when it came to the high schools, at least.
Yeah.
Which was different. And it was kind of crazy at the time, but like looking back on it, like I met a lot of cool people. You know what I'm saying? Like I met a lot of people in the town.
Yeah, and it is cool, like getting to experience, because so I went to AITE, but I played for West Hill, like soccer. So, you know, I always find myself having friends from like AITE and West Hill. So you probably have friends from all the schools that you got to meet.
It's funny because sometimes you'll see people from high school that you just haven't seen in a while, but like you can recognize them, you know, their face or whatever. And I'm just like, yo, was it Stanford High or West Hill? Because like I don't even remember. You know?
And hearing the Schofield, I was like, we were talking about this.
Schofield was lit.
Schofield was lit, but
Schofield was lit.
You know, as you're talking, like, because we also have this random bond over RuneScape too that we were just talking about,
dude. And we could this podcast can turn into a 4-hour show.
But dude, when you started saying that you went to Schofield, I was like, all right, the RuneScape thing makes a lot of sense to me now. You know what I mean? Northeast
TV Studios, Mr. Wheatley.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
Dude, there was a lot, dude. I'm trying to think.
And look what we're doing now.
Oh yeah, real life.
Yo, like Mr. Wheatley was like the OG of this stuff, and like I remember being back there with his production set, just thinking it was like the coolest thing ever. We used to do the morning announcements from his room.
It's crazy, dude. It's crazy.
Like Donica, you know Donica?
Yeah.
I remember Donica would be like writing inappropriate stuff on the teleprompter, and like we're sitting there. And
that's hella funny, dude.
Nah, it was good stuff, man. It was good times.
So you said you got in a little bit of trouble in high school.
Yeah.
Is that something you'd be open to talking about?
Yeah, for sure, man. I definitely, it's part of, you know, who I am and decisions I made. It's taught me, you know, some real deep, valuable life lessons like accountability and just, you know, perseverance, I should say. So I really don't have a problem talking about everybody's got a sad story. Everybody goes through things. Everybody makes mistakes. So I used to like pity myself over it, but it's like kind of like, you know, just like.
No, it's your story, dude. You know what I mean?
It kind of catapulted me in the direction of that. Where we're going now.
And that's how you bounce back. I'm moving in, dude.
Yeah,
As we're getting more intimate here, dude. Thank you for tuning in to the Mike Squires and Friends podcast. You can support by subscribing on YouTube or downloading on your preferred podcast platform. And definitely go do that because it helps us grow and I can have more incredible guests on the podcast. The Mike Squires and Friends podcast is proudly sponsored by Distrokid. Looking to broaden your musical horizons as an artist? Discover Distrokid. With its smooth and rewarding music distribution platform, Distrokid offers unlimited uploads while ensuring artists retain 100% of their royalties and earnings. Join the community of over 1 million artists who trust Distrokid to distribute their music across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, TikTok, Tidal, and so many others. Having personally used Distrokid since 2018, I can attest to their superiority amongst distribution services. Collaborating with fellow artists has become effortless, especially with the ability to easily send splits of songs, streamlining the creative process. With the Distrokid app, accessing these benefits is now more convenient than ever. Safely sign up or log in with 2-factor authentication, upload releases on the fly, monitor earnings, and withdraw funds from your Distrokid bank. Stay updated on royalties through push notifications, effortlessly share hyperfollow links, manage account details seamlessly, and track streaming stats from Spotify and Apple. Additionally, explore Mixia for professional grade mastering, DistroVid for music video distribution, and Instant Share for secure file sharing with collaborators, producers, and more. The DistroKid app is available on both iOS and Android. Download it today from the App Store or Google Play Store to revolutionize your music career. Visit distrokid.com/VIP/Mike Squires to get 30% off your first year membership. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Mike Squires and Friends.
So, so basically when I was in high school, I was kind of just like all over the place. Didn't know who I was. Like looking back, I try to think like, what was my thought process? Like, because, you know, in a way your mind creates your reality. So like when I try to think back on like how I was thinking or what I was thinking, it only makes sense that my reality was like a negative, you know, not a positive outlook of what I was thinking and what I was doing. So basically, I was just hanging out with the wrong people, dude. Wasn't worried about school. Wasn't putting sports first. You know, growing up an athlete, it should have been sports, family, God, and just like preparing to get my game to the next level. Instead, it was more so just like smoking pot, smoking weed. I get made fun of for saying pot. We're too old to be saying pot. It's like a forsaken word now, pot. But smoking the weed, chasing the girls, dude, just trying to sell drugs, try to do bad stuff. You know, growing up from North Stanford. I was like a soft, nice kid, you know, and like I ended up hanging around a little bit of a tougher crowd as I got older, and like that softness was exposed, and it kind of like I knew I didn't like it, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to be, I guess, and you know, quote unquote, I wanted to be tougher. I wanted to be a little bit stronger within. And so like I just went into this, like I just kind of started bugging out, dude. Like I was down, like I was just with the shits, you know what I'm saying? So if there was anything where like, you know, anything to do with a fight or a robbery or sell some drugs, like I was with it, dude. I was with it. So I was just like not being myself. I was just completely living to, how should I say, to get living for approval of others. That didn't even matter. It didn't even care about me. So it was just doing some loser shit, dude, you know, and looking back on it, it's really disgraceful, but it is what it is. So I ended up getting arrested for a home invasion, which sounds like really crazy, I know. But all it was like we went to a house, thought there was going to be some like, you know, money, drugs, whatever, some stuff in and out. Ended up being someone's house that lived there, occupied the house. We had no idea. Turned into a burglary, first degree. Didn't get anything. Went in, realized people lived there, kind of ran out. There was like a scuffle with the guy who lived there. He had a daughter there. So like looking back on that, it's like, dude, like we're lucky to like have been alive. Because like think about breaking into the wrong home, a holder or someone that wants to protect his family, it might just, you know, it could have been a real different
outlook.
outlook.
Is it, you know, let's run it back a little bit. What does it look like? You know, is this something that you guys are planning ahead of time? Like,
dude, it happened it was like, it just that day, that night, dudes were talking about, oh, like, you know, XYZ, we could do that. And it was like a Friday night and we were just like, oh, all right, word, bet. Like, let's go do that. Like, that's what I'm saying. Dude, I was like taking Xanax and stuff. My mind was not in the right place. Like my soul wasn't in the right place. I wasn't aligned with God. I wasn't thinking properly. And, you know, I was consumed by evil, bro, you know, without really even knowing it. I was a good kid that was doing bad stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and like I lost myself, bro.
What was one of the first things that like, you know, what led you to this path? Do you remember like one of the first things that you did that was like
bad?
Yeah.
It's a good question. It had to have been just like starting to smoke weed and like just like build the rebellious spirit of just like not listening to my parents and looking up to kids that were like not your, you know, stereotype idols, quote unquote, not people that you should be following, just kind of following the crowd, not being a leader for myself, being a follower. And that's something that I look back on that like it's just crazy because now I'm so like self-confident that like I don't need anybody's approval for nothing, you know, like I'm really proud of who I am. I know who I am and I don't want to be following the crowd, you know, regardless. I admire people from a distance and like I always give them their roses, but I'm not one to like need any kind of approval externally anymore, you know, and a lot of it came from that, I feel like, for sure.
Yeah, walk me through the night of the home invasion. So, you know, you guys make the decision that you're going to go do this. What's the next play? Like,
so we pull up to the crib and get to the house. We're just like, all right, that's the door. So we go up, no names, no nothing, you know, no amount of, like, whatever the case, whatever the situation was. So we get to the door. It was just like, yo, someone knock. Because, like, we were just young. Adrenaline's pumping. You're like, yo, someone just knock. Like, let's make sure.
You were waiting for someone to answer the door?
No, bro, we thought it was empty. But,
okay.
But we were like, yo, just knock. Like, someone just knocked. So dudes knocked and, like, someone answered the door. So right away, we're just like, shit's going left. Like, what the hell's going on? Proceeded in, just kind of like took a step in.
When you say proceeded in, with the person right there in the door?
Right there, yeah. It was weird. It was like, it wasn't planned, totally botched, and just like, it was chaos for like a minute or two. Very quick. So once it was like, you know, very like frightened. It wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? It was not cool. Definitely frightened the person of the house, obviously. Who wouldn't be? You know, it's kind of late. It's probably like 10:30 at night, maybe a little earlier. It's dark out. You answer a door, and people are just like walking into your crib.
And it's just a random house that you guys chose.
It was in Darien, dude. Like, yeah, random house. Like, no, like, it is the stupidest job ever. There was nothing to be, yeah. Anyways, so in the midst of the chaos, I just knew that, like, this is not good. Like, you gotta get out of here. So we're at a flight of steps. It was probably like 30 flights of steps, dude. Big staircase. My first instinct was just turn and run. Like, I bounced, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I turned around, I jumped down the staircase. Like, when I tell you, like, I jumped from the top to the bottom, landed and broke my ankle immediately.
Oh, you
fractured my ankle, bro. Yes, and this was in the middle of basketball season. So that's later in this day. So I landed and, like, boom, I knew my shit was fucked up. Like, I was just like, damn. And so I'm like hobbling back to the car because like my adrenaline's pumping. I knew this was just horrible. Like, what the hell is it? What are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Like now my like real like essence is kicking in. Like, yo, like, what do you like? What's good with you, bro? Like, you gotta like, this is not good. So I get back to the car and like, again, I was on like a Xanax. So like, I was just all like out of it. And I woke up the next morning and I remember I got out of bed, dude. And like, I put my foot on the ground and I just like collapsed. I was going to basketball practice at like 8 a.m. and I just remember not being able to stand. Looked at my foot and it was just like black and blue all over the place. So it hit me like, oh my God, that really happened last night. Like, how am I going to explain this? You know, there was no thought in my mind of me getting in trouble from it. It was just like, damn, now I got a broken ankle. How am I supposed to play basketball? You know? So I was living with my aunt at the time. And that was another thing too, you know, parents divorced, kind of just like figuring out where I was living all the time. Never really had like a settlement for myself when it came to like a living.
You were bouncing around a lot.
Yeah, bouncing around a lot, dude, like a real lot. And so that always played a factor in my mind because there was just like, there was no comfort of my own home. You know, my dad, you know, did as best as he could. It wasn't anybody's fault but my own. I was just like hard to control, dude. Like I just wasn't listening to anybody. I was living on my own rules, which is just ridiculous. And so I was living with my aunt at the time. And yeah, dude, they were just like, and this was like my last stop. Like my aunt's house was supposed to be like, they're going to shape you up. Like they were raising a strong home. Their kids all are doing well. So they were like, all right, we'll take them. We'll try to help them out, you know, get them into like, whip them into shape. And they just, nobody could. And so I remember like lying to my aunt and uncle about it. Like, yeah, you know, tripped in a pothole at my boy's house. Like, twisted my ankle.
Tripped on a pothole is crazy.
Crazy, bro. Like, it doesn't even make sense. My uncle was like, yo, show me the pothole at your boy's house. So I'm like, oh, shit, dude. Dad must have fixed it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, caught out in lies. I was just lying. I was just not being real. I was just being fake to everything and everyone. And it came crashing down, man. So, yeah, middle of junior year, I ended up getting arrested.
Because of the home invasion.
Yeah, detective showed up at West Hill probably like a week later.
Oh, a week later. I was going to ask how long it took. So
it was probably like a week. I remember it was a Wednesday. I was in weightlifting class with Coach Kurtz, who I happen to see, you know, every so often now. And it's cool to like be in a better position now to look back and be like, yeah, I know pretty bad, but like at least look what I was able to do.
How old were you at the time this was all
16. I turned 17 in jail.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's walk through this, dude. So the detective comes and picks you up.
Yeah, so I'm in weightlifting class, and Coach Kurtz gets a call from the office. He just got this like crazy look looking at me like, you know, they're calling you up at the office. I had no idea what it was. I was on crutches. My ankle's broken. I had an elevator key at West Hill. He's like, take the elevator, go up to the office. So not knowing what I was going up to the office for, I'm just like, all right, bet. So I get off the elevator, and like, as soon as I get off the elevator, there's like 2 detectives. Like,
You didn't even have the thought that it could be for that?
No, I didn't.
Because you thought it was a week later. You're like,
I thought it was good, bro. Thought it was good. Not good at all. And so the detectives were waiting, took me in the room, showed me a bunch of stuff that I was talking about on the internet. Basically told them myself, self-incrimination, having...
So that's how they figured it out.
Yeah, put all the pieces together. I guess there was word of mouth who did it. And, dude, we were at the Jamboree, like, the night after. It was just, bro, stupid kid shit. Like, stupid, embarrassing kid shit. But, like, it happened. So it's like I owned up to it. And, yeah, man, it was just a while. So that, like, 3 minutes of what happened that night totaled for, like, about 10 years going forward.
Insane,
you know?
dude. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so, like, that's one thing I realized, too, with life now is, like, your life can change in the split second, dude. Like, for the better or worse. And just like that, you never know. And so, like, I try really hard to be present and grateful in every moment now because you never know. Like, you never know. I remember the other day a couple months ago, I was working on the garbage truck and I was closing the hopper and I got sprayed by some paint remover. Boom, like right in my eyes, bad, like really bad. So, like, I'm like, for a minute or two, like, I can't see nothing. My eyes are burning. And, like, I'm just like, wow. Like, if this was detrimental and, like, I really, like, messed my eyesight up, it was only 30 seconds. Like, I didn't even see it coming. It just, like, this happened. And now I'm dealing with a situation that, like, you didn't see coming. And it just makes you, like, value, like, life ain't that bad. You know, it's really not. You just really stay grounded to, like, what you got and who you are and count your blessings, man. For real.
Yeah.
For real.
I feel like it's also something that's gotten me softer as I get more old because I'm like way more like, you know, when I was young, I'd jump off the rock. You know what I mean? Now,
dude.
like, you know.
Think about jumping off that rock.
Yeah,
I
think
don't know
about
if I wanna
jumping.
jump. That's a little steep of a fall for me these days, man.
You know what I'm saying? Where
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I think just having the knowledge of like, you know, this could, as a kid, you're not thinking about it. You know what I mean? But as you
Gotta
get
fall off the rock a couple times, man.
yeah.
Gotta hit that ground.
But let's run it back. So detective picks you up. Where do you go?
Sure, we go right to the holding in Darien. Basically, you know, the detective played hockey with my dad. So my dad came. He was just like pissed. He gave me a look that I've only seen that day. Like, I want to kill you. Like, it was a crazy look. And
How do you feel when you get that look?
I just knew I fucked up, man. You know, I knew I fucked up. Like, it was just like, this was, my world came crashing down to me, and this was just like evolution of just bad mistakes for a year or two on end. So it only made sense, you know. I definitely came crashing down. And like parents, and I had parents around me, and like I played a lot of sports within the town. So like there was a support system that was like trying to prevent this from happening. But like I said, there was just nothing that anybody could do. I was going to be taught by life and life only, you know? And that's just what it was.
So you said it affected 10 years. Like, what's the next thing that happened, and how do we get to this domino effect of everything it caused?
Yeah, so we were sentenced to 90 days in, and I did that in the middle of junior year just so I didn't have to stay back, by the grace of God. Miss Faguzzi from West Hill essentially let me skip my finals. So I didn't take finals junior year, still graduated and went on to senior year. I was just blessed. I was blessed for that to happen. That could have really messed me up. So it was 90 days, then it was 5 years probation, 10-year suspended sentence. So within 5 years of probation, if I were to get in trouble again or do anything wrong, I, you know, have to do a 10-year sentence, which was like heavy to think about as a 17-year-old kid. It's like, wow, like now the pressure's on. Like now you really got to walk a straight line. Like there's no messing around. Had 1,000 hours community service. I had 3.5 years on house arrest afterwards. That was pretty ass for sure. Just being a young kid and having super restriction was not fun. So yeah, like that 3 minutes just cost me a lot of time and stress and aggravation, and just like, dude, I thought my life was like over so early, you know. I didn't know how I was gonna bounce back from this, you know. Parents, friends, family, a lot of tough feedback obviously came after that, and it was kind of just like, all right, here's day one of your new life. Like, what are you gonna do about this? How are you gonna structure yourself? Like, how are you gonna show the world that you're not who you just portrayed yourself to be?
Yeah,
you know. So I got into coaching basketball. I got into messing with the youth, and you know, I just day after day just did my best to show the world that I wasn't who I showed before, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of had like this chip on my shoulder, like a revenge tour of getting back to being a good person.
I got a lot of questions, dude.
Let's do it.
You know, so what's the first day in jail feel like?
That was crazy. It was like a wake up call. I woke up, I was just like, damn, this is real. It's crazy. It was Manson Youth Institute. It was a youth institute. So it wasn't like super crazy, but
Are you in with like a lot of other 16, 17-year-olds?
yeah, I think the oldest dude in the gym was like 30, or the gym, excuse me. The oldest dude in the jail was like 30 at the time. So it was like fairly youth center for sure. But the kid, like, if you think about it, like that's like kids were wild, bro. In the span of like 90 days, I must have seen like 50 fights. Like, yeah, I had my own fight, and like it was mayhem, and it was crazy. If you were under the age of 18, they forced you to go to school. So you think about a whole bunch of kids in jail forced to go to school at 6 a.m. that don't want to go to school, you know. So it was like, but like it could have been way worse, you know. My experience in there, it was like a rude awakening, but like it also made me realize like I don't want nothing to do with this kind of life, you know. I was comfortable though. Like I realized that like I could, you know, be a sponge in some areas, you know what I mean? Like I could really like be a chameleon and kind of just like I could fit in wherever. And so I kept to myself, and it was quiet at first. I really like didn't say too much for like the first 2 weeks, but then I played some basketball, and like I immediately started like, you know, talking to people and like fitting in a little bit. Like that was like my coping mechanism, was playing sports and playing basketball. So it made me realize that like a game like that is super like important, because like you could really bond with people over something like that in like a crazy situation, you know? Yeah. So I was grateful for that. But yeah, it sucked. It definitely sucked. The food was ass, like no free time.
Do you remember like specifically what the food was looking like?
Dude, we had Hot Pockets for lunch on Wednesday. Overcooked Hot Pockets. Just like that was our Wednesday lunch with maybe.
Might have to take a quick detour, dude.
Not it. It was not it. A lot of ramen noodle soups. So like you have commissary, so you order your commissary, and that's like the food you'll have in your cell or whatever. And like it's up to you if you want to eat what the state provides, because they are obviously enforced to provide 3 meals a day and a shower. And yeah, dude, I don't like it's just still so crazy that it even happened.
So,
I don't like to like, one, I don't like to glorify it. I don't like to talk about it. I know people that did like serious hard time, you know?
Yeah.
So like this like for me to talk about it, like it was something is like, there's a part of me that's just like, dude, shut the hell up.
But to me, it's like, it's part of your story. Cause that's like the way I look at my podcast. It's like, you know, today we're here to highlight Phil's story, and like, regardless
of what anybody
else. Anything that's going on. This is what
that.
Made you you.
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, I want to talk a little bit about the flip side. So at like what moment, do you have like a moment where you realize I need to change things up? This is not for me. Like
I think it was like prematurely before I even like went away. I think it was like kind of like after the arrest is when everything started hitting me. Kind of just realizing that like I'm bugging, dude. Like I'm bugging. And it could have been way worse. I could have got caught for something way worse, you know. But like, fortunately, God lined it all up for it to be what it was. And yeah, dude, shit, just crazy, because there was like that good person in me at the time. It's just so buried deep under, I don't know, trauma. I don't know what it was. It was all my fault though. It was my accountability, like, you know, my decisions, and me being a hardhead. So, you know. There's a quote that I love till this day, and it's Ray Lewis. And he's like, when you know your life needs change and you don't change it and you wait for God to change it, it's not going to be pretty, dude. And I love that because it's true. It's super true. And like, even when I'm big on trying to like help the youth. If I see a kid that, you know, got potential or whatever, and I could just see he's not doing the right things or, you know, acting out in the facets of life, it's just like, ultimately, I could tell him and look him in the eyes and try to sit him down and tell him what's right and like what would happen. But like sometimes, you know, life's just got to do it itself. Yeah. You know, there's nothing really you could do.
So you were in for the 90 days. Mm-hmm. So what's it like, you know, as you're approaching the 90 days and then finally get out?
Oh, dude, that 90 days felt like forever. I can only imagine. Well, they say like once you hit like a certain mark, like after a year is when the time starts flying by a little bit more so, because you're so like indoctrinated, I guess, or what's the word they were saying? I forget.
But it just becomes your normal.
Becomes your day-to-day life. And yeah, it just felt like forever for me, because I'd wake up, like, you know, first thing I do in the morning is like check that day off the calendar. Like I wanted to see all the days just checked off the calendar. And yeah, coming home was like the best thing ever. I got like the best hug from my dad that day. He was like super happy to see me. And I just remember just like happily enjoying the simplest pleasures. Like I got home and I remember sitting down, like my dopamine levels were like super low. You know what I mean? Looking back, I realized this. So like something so simple as like playing Xbox. Like I remember I turned on my Xbox and played like NHL for like a second. And I'm like, wow, this is so much fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is something I would do like casually so much before that. But like, even like eating Colony Pizza, I was like, dude, this is so good.
Well, it's because
like,
you were so deprived of it for like.
I couldn't wait to have me some pizza, bro. Couldn't wait to have some pizza. And so when I got there, it was just like, yeah, man, like the freedom, bro. Just like people don't realize like freedom and like, are we completely free? No, but like we are free for the most part. You know what I mean? And so when that freedom's taken away and like you are, you know, in a room where you can almost touch every wall and you're sharing a toilet with a stranger you don't even know, and there's like,
and you can physically see them.
Privacy levels are very low. You know, you put a curtain up in a sheet, but like, dude, it's still just like super awkward and uncomfortable, especially at first. And like, bro, you could be like cellies with anybody. You know, like you could be cellies with like a maniac, bro, like a killer, like, you know.
Who was your?
I had two guys. I don't remember the first dude. He was in and out, and then one kid was from New Haven. His name was Ty Thron. I actually looked him up on Google like a year or two ago, and he didn't turn around.
Damn.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. So I was sad to see that, but like, yo, you know, my PO told me, you know, 76% of the people in the position that I was in, you know, end up back in. And
That's
I
crazy.
remember my dad saying, like, when we were going over everything, he was just like, well, he'll be part of that other 15%. Like, no doubt about it, you know?
Yeah.
Or 20%, whatever it is. And yeah, dude, it's been some journey now, you know?
Yeah, I want to talk to you about some other stories because I know, like, you know, I talked to Brandon before this, who's been a longtime friend of yours, and I was like, dude, you probably know some more Phil stories than me.
Yeah, for sure. I remember like seeing Brandon's dad. Like one of the first things that I remember is like seeing Brandon's dad for the first time after it all happened, and it was at pre-prom. Brandon had prom. It was like junior prom for Stanford High, and I seen his dad just like pulling up to take the pictures. Brandon was taking pictures, and I was there just chilling. Had an ankle bracelet monitor on, and I was just so embarrassed, bro. So embarrassed. Like I got like super emotional because like I just felt like a piece of shit. And like Lenny is like, yo, whoa, like it's all right, But like I was so disgraced of like the things I did, and like, you know, I just it hit, bro. It hit. This shit hurts, you know. And then you think about like my parents gave me like a great childhood and a great life to like turn around and disgrace their name. It's like, you know, I'm sure people of their friends and their lives were just like, what are you doing? Like, you know, making them look like bad parents. Like, get control of your kid, you know? And it had nothing to do with them. They did the best they could. I just was, you know, wasn't listening to anybody. There was nothing that anybody could do, bro. And like, so turning around with that was just like, all right, well, now I'm going to show them that they got a good boy.
Do you feel like you had to like find forgiveness? Like, because you felt bad. Like, did you feel like you had to forgive yourself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how
I felt
did
like
you go
a piece
about
of shit
that?
for a long time, dude. For a long time. Grace, mercy. I got real close to God, man. You know, people think it's a game, and people think that it's like, you know, a facade, or maybe people, they just say it because it's cliche. But like, once I started building a relationship with God, there's so much like peace and love and grace and fulfillment that comes with that. That like even the craziest times of your life can like feel like, you know, you're just grateful for them.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. You know, it is crazy because I don't even like looking at pictures of myself from back in the day, dude. Like I see like a young me, and it's just like I see it in his eyes. Like
it's a different person.
Whole different person, bro. Whole different person. Like, so it's just, it's like night and day, dude. It's night and day.
But I think what's important too, like because there might be somebody listening to this right now that might be at the stage in their life where maybe they're hanging around the wrong crew.
Crashing out.
Yeah, exactly. but
straight up, dude. That's all it is. You got to crash out. Like, you got to.
But the thing is, like, you can turn it around. Like, you don't need to stay in that constant.
And I want to be like a sign of hope for that, because there are people that struggle with the things they've done in the past, being, you know, institutionalized and coming out and just not being able to find that inner child or be able to find that good that they had in their heart, because they're just so, you know, embellished with the fact that they're a piece of shit, or that they did this, or that they're just not a good person because of what they did. And it's like, dude, you got to be able to understand grace, and that mistakes were made. Nobody's perfect, bro. Like, nobody is perfect, dude. Like, it's all right. You know, as long as you're not doing anything crazy, like, you know, that's like super unethical. I don't even got to mention it. But like, I think that there's always room for a comeback, bro.
I agree, dude.
Yeah.
I'm going to change gears a little bit too, because I want to make sure we get to everything in this podcast.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I think what I think is a funny story. You're going to have to tell me, dude.
Let's do it.
But earlier you brought up Hot Pockets. I know that you blended a Hot Pocket once, dude.
Yeah, I did blend a Hot Pocket. That's crazy. That's a good one.
Could you tell me the story, the whole story behind that,
All
dude?
right, Cordell Booker throws a hell of a left hand. Let me tell you that, bro.
Friend of the podcast.
Yeah. Shout out Cordell, man. Super proud to see what he's doing. That's another one. Just like switched it around, is like killing it now. You know, totally killing it. Yeah, I was a stupid idiot back in the day. I was a knucklehead. Got myself involved in a bunch of situations that I had no business being in. This one actually happened before I got in trouble. And so, yeah, I did some things I shouldn't have done. I don't want to talk about it. I feel, again, just super embarrassed, and it was ridiculous.
Yeah, no pressure.
And yeah, got punched in my face pretty good by the world champ. Shout out Core. And my jaw was wired for 3 months. And so...
You got to give me a little bit. So, because I'm just confused about the Hot Pocket blending.
I was starving, bro. All right.
Okay.
So, like, when your jaw's wired shut, there's no opening in your mouth, bro. So, like, I wasn't eating. And, like, bro, not eating food for a significant amount of time is crazy. Like, it's crazy. Your mind, like, it's crazy. It was worse than jail time, for sure. not being able to eat for 3 months was worse than being locked up. I'd say so for sure.
Which is hilarious though, because
I blended up a Hot Pocket, Mike, because I was starving to the bone and like I needed something. So I was blending, like I would get high with the boys. Everybody would just fucking eat at my house and have a great time. And I'm sitting there starving, bro. So like,
and it's insane that the person who punched you, Cordell, went on to be a professional boxer. You know what I mean? So if there's anyone to get punched by, you know.
Yo, bro, I love it. You couldn't make it up. It makes for a great story.
Yeah. Look, I don't want to put any pressure, and we can move past it if you don't. But like, why did you get punched?
I jumped into like a little fight that I had no business being in, and someone that Cordell cares about dearly was on the other side of it. And so like, yeah, dude, wasn't cool at all. There was a video floating around MySpace, and dude, I just made a fucking absolute fool out of myself in high school, bro. So yeah, he ended up seeing the video, and like I knew him before any of this happened, and like I knew that he was good at whooping people's asses. So like, he caught me, and yeah, he didn't let it slide, and I admire him for it. I actually thanked him for it. I needed it. I definitely needed it. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. I think everybody needs to get punched in the mouth at some point. It like really brought me back down to earth. Like, all right, dude, like. You're not
getting punched in the face will change your perspective. It'll humble you real quick.
It humbles you. Yeah, it does humble you. And I needed it, man. Like I told you, I was just putting myself into these fucking crazy
So just to get the timeline clear, and then I'm going to move on. The jaw wiring is off by the time you're at the home invasion.
Yeah. That was sophomore year.
Yeah, because to have those double, have those stacked would be crazy.
If I had to go in with that, oof, that would have been what? That'd have been crazy. Dude.
Yeah,
I lost like 20 pounds in like 2 weeks
because of the jaw.
I remember I was wearing an Ed Hardy shirt to high school, and it was like a long sleeve, and like Ed Hardy was all like skull and bones.
Yeah.
So like the shirt was just like a skeleton. And I remember I walked into school and dude was like, "Damn, do you even got a shirt on, bro?" And I'm just like, "Damn, I must have been really skinny right now because I was naturally skinny."
Yeah.
Like, the Phil you see now, like in the gym, nah.
No, that's funny, dude.
Yeah, nah, it's crazy, man.
I heard about another story with a slip and slide at a party.
Yeah, so one thing I like to do is when my mom went away, yo, sorry, mom, anybody that hears this, but like we all know it's the truth. My mom would go away or something, and we would just like try to throw bangers in the backyard. Oh yeah, we did. And in high school, there was like a week long of where we were just throwing a day party all day from like 7 a.m. to like 6 p.m. And then at 6 p.m., there was another free crib that a kid had. So it was just like the perfect week. And it was during the summer. So like, bro, I'd wake up and there'd be people like drinking, swimming in the pool by like 8 o'clock in the morning every day. And so we were just throwing these crazy parties at my mom's house. And what we did was we built we got a big ass tarp. Me and my boy Jack. Jack's going to laugh when he hears this one. We got a big tarp. We soaped it up, watered it up. It went all the way down from the backyard into the front yard. In the front yard, we had a rock wall. And at the bottom, we bought a big ass like blow up pool, which was like $400 that day. We spent $400 on a blow up pool just to like set this up. Like we had this idea that this was going to be awesome and epic and we're going to do it. And so we had 2 rafts and like, dude, we were just flying from the backyard off the rock wall into the pool. It was pretty crazy. It was fun. It was good. It was a good time, but like totally killed all the grass in my mom's backyard. We didn't think that one through. So like we cleaned up this mess and like the grass is dead and my mom owns a landscaping company. So she takes pride in her yard and stuff. So it was a disaster, man. It was controlled chaos for sure.
Dude, you probably don't know this about me. I guess it's more my sister, but my sister has thrown some of the craziest parties, dude. It's funny because like me, it's just not me. You know, I'm not really a party guy.
Yeah.
But so, you know, when I was on a shoot in Mexico and my mom was like in Vermont, like skiing or something, my sister threw this party, and I mean a huge party. It happened on St. Patrick's Day, and we're shooting that was yesterday, right? So yesterday was like, it's funny, my sister actually, we talked about it yesterday because yesterday was the anniversary.
The anniversary of the banger.
Dude, I don't think you understand. It was on World Star. Dude, I was getting sent clips. Like literally.
Project X.
Dude, I found out about this because of a clip. So there was a clip on World Star of, I guess one of our neighbors coming over and like yelling. Keep in mind, it's like snow, like up to the ankle there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, the clip I saw was madness. It was like our neighbor was like coming over, like yelling at all. And I get at the time she's like 15, 16, you know what I mean? Throwing this party. There's hundreds of people in our front yard in the snow. The house is, my sister took all the furniture in our house and put it in one room and stacked it, dude.
Oh god,
dude, it was pure madness.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I just don't. Your story reminded me of this, so that's why I wanted to tell it real quick.
It was not cool. And, you know, it was a good time being young. You know, it was harmless. You know, but it was nuts.
Dude, there's like, and then like in the video, it's like I feel bad. Our neighbor was getting like clown because you know how 16-year-olds are.
Dude,
like
nightmare, especially if they're
like just bullying this poor woman.
Not good.
And I remember like in the video, someone getting like punched in the face, dude, and like knocked out. I'm like, what the hell? And keep in mind, I'm in Mexico when I'm like looking at this, so I'm just like, but I didn't snitch, you know.
No, good for you. That's what's up.
But you know, maybe my sister would be a funny podcast guest too.
Yeah,
dude.
you could tell a little bit of what went on behind closed doors at that party. You know?
Yeah, but you know, pulling it back to you, Phil, because now we know you as Shooter Phil. You know what I mean? Frames by Philly, dude.
Yeah, and that was just
so. Yeah, how do you get into picking up the camera?
I was looking forward to telling this one because it's still fairly new to my life, and I'm sure people are curious because it's been going pretty well, I'd say. So what happened was we were at our boy Tom Fab's birthday up at Mohegan Sun. We were up there. I think Tommy Carlucci was performing at what's the club up there?
It's not Avalon.
Avalon.
It is?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
cool.
So we were in Avalon one night, whatever. So we were up there for the weekend. And we were just coming home. I remember me and Brandon were driving home in the morning. And we were just kind of just talking about it. It was like Sunday come down off all the alcohol and stuff. And I had this just like idea of just like getting a camera. I was like really in the gym. I was making like gym content a little bit here and there with my phone. I always thought about how can I help Brandon with his craft, with the music. And I just like the idea of a camera was kind of just like lingering in my head. And so we were talking and Brandon was like, yeah, you should get a camera. And I'm like, yeah. I remember saying, I was driving, I was like, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get a camera. You know, so I bought the A7 III. And basically, dude, I just bought a camera, no intentions of what I was going to do with it. I was thinking, you know, like I said, gym content, have some fun. I was going to Italy. So I really wanted the trip, really wanted the camera for Italy. And so what really made it like take off to where it's at now is Saturday mornings, we were doing a pickup run at Chelsea Piers. 7 a.m. It was like a high-level basketball run. A lot of good players would come every Saturday. They still have it. We still go. And I was just bringing my camera and just like make little videos every Saturday. And next thing you know, people were like loving the videos, dude. Like they were looking forward to like, yo, like was it Saturday at like 3 p.m. Like, yo, where's the video at? Like, all right, dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like let me start cooking it. And one thing led to another, and it just like, the opportunities kept coming, and I guess I just had like a natural niche for it. Even like, bro, I still to this day, even when I see PJ all the time, I thank him so much for like the Hey Stanford concert. Dude, I remember just like being on stage with you, and this is like my first year of like having a camera. Me and you were sitting there. It was the Saturday with A Boogie, and I remember just looking at you, and then looking at my left, and it was like A Boogie and the whole crowd, and I'm just like, dude.
Insane, dude. Madness. I was going to ask you,
what the hell is going on right now?
I was going to ask you what you think one of your coolest opportunities has been.
Oh, without a doubt, the Hey Stanford concert.
It's insane,
without
dude.
a doubt, dude. Being like right here with 50 Cent, you know, being able to dap up Uncle Murda and share a couple words.
And A Boogie, I think that was A Boogie's the day Brandon came out to and performed.
No,
it was the opposite. So he came out. Brandon came out for 50 Cent.
Yeah,
and then Jet was.
Yeah,
A Boogie.
which was crazy.
Insane, dude.
Because like we improvised that too, and like me not really even having the correct credentials to be back there. I like really am super grateful to PJ for that. Yo, PJ, thank you so much.
Yeah,
if there's
dude.
ever another one, let me get it too. So yeah, having access to be backstage with all you guys in my first year of doing something like that was like super special to me. Super special, and like I remember I just wanted to like. Be super grateful. Like I went and bought security, mad chicken nuggets and stuff, dude. Spent mad bread, just like trying to fit in and be good, be under the radar, you know. Like I was really grateful to be back there, and I caught such a natural high from those 2 nights that like I couldn't sleep. I was exhausted. My body was exhausted, but I remember getting home. My fucking ears were ringing, dude.
Yeah, the music's loud,
Ringing,
especially
bro.
in the pit,
in
dude.
front of those speakers. Boom.
Been
boom,
there, dude. I think I'm like,
night, bro.
you know, I didn't like I did a hearing test recently because I can't hear things.
I bet, yeah, dude.
And like people talk to me and I don't hear it, but then I did this audio test and it was like my hearing's fine. So I was like, maybe there's something else going on. Dude. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but
yeah, dude. So that was nuts, and like I just started to realize that like I was catching these natural highs from doing something, and like I enjoyed doing it, dude. And like I guess the work was, it was good. People were loving the work. So
you bring up like when you say natural high too, that's like something that's very interesting to me because I don't know if you know this about me, but some people do that. Like I don't drink or smoke, but I think it's because I've had this natural high of just like, concerts and just like staying busy and just like, doing
high off life, bro.
Yeah,
that's the way it should be because you know what? Where I'm at now after 31 years of life, I don't want to drink or smoke, dude. Do I struggle with it here and there? Yeah, for sure. But like I'm internally like, my mission is to become sober and just like sharp and like enjoy the natural highs, like understand dopamine and understand what we're doing on a day-to-day basis shapes our future, and like for the longest time, dude, I smoked so much weed, bro. Like I was addicted to nicotine. So I would like roll spliffs and stuff. And I would just be high all the time, not realizing like what it was doing to my mind. And I wasn't just as sharp. I wasn't the best version of me every day.
And I think it's whatever works for each person at the end of the day too.
I'm not saying that anything wrong with it.
Neither am I. Because like sometimes when I say that I don't do anything, people think I'm like against it, and that's not the case.
Not at all. I've done everything under the sun. Like I literally have done a lot, and I've tried a lot. I've experienced a lot, and like I admire a guy like you because it's like sobriety to me is like a superpower. I think there's so much positive that comes from it, and you can have a great time without needing anything. And so like once you reach that level or experience a natural high.
And one thing we spoke about though before this, because, I don't know if I would be able to do everything I do if I didn't like tap into the gym. You know what I mean? Because I think you need some sort of like release. But yesterday I was like so anxious. I was like, not I don't want to say like feeling terrible, but it's just like sometimes things get stacked up so high. Yeah, that I'm just like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, what am I doing? Yeah, just
overwhelming, bro. And like, I can only imagine because like I got a very like slight taste of that, of the just like a lot of work, overwhelming on the plate. I can only imagine a guy of your stature with like you said, all your projects going on. You got so much going on, so many ideas coming through your mind. To how to really balance that. And like that one thing I noticed, like even yesterday you wanted to organize, you know what I'm saying? Just like something.
Oh yeah, I was like, please send me your email so I could just like put my schedule together, dude.
Yeah, that shows a lot. And so I found that the gym is just like a super catalyst to success, regardless of what your goals are in there.
I agree, dude.
Dude, seriously, I think that there's a reason a lot of people. I think exercise and physical fitness is an intricate part of reality that a lot of people need to grasp.
Yeah, to me, it's like so important personally. It's just because it's like those moments where I just like it's even past the physical part of it, just for my mental.
100%.
There has not been a single time where I went into the gym anxious and then left still anxious.
You leave feeling great every single time, and it's the days that you don't want to go that you'll probably have a great workout. It's not cliche, it's true.
I always push through no matter. My whole thing is just showing up.
That's it, dude.
Regardless of how it is.
I tell people all the time, like you're never gonna have 7 days of 100%. There's never gonna be a Monday through Sunday if you go every day where you're going to be 100% energy every day. But what you do is you give 100% of what you have that day. Dude, and I've been lifting consecutively for years now. But I go in there and I give what I got that day. It might be a day where I go in there and do maybe 1 or 2, 3 sets. And I'm just like, all right, at least I got here. At least I did a little bit. Let me get out of here because I'm not optimizing my time here.
Yeah, no.
So it's like you said, it's about getting there, dude. Creating the habit of going to the gym.
Yeah, and I'll use this as a quick I want to get back to your story, but I'll use this as a quick moment too to plug my homies over at Metabolic too, because one thing that I just like enjoy about them, because I'm a very schedule-based person now. So it's like, I get there at 6:00 and it's done 6:50 every time, no matter what the way they have it scheduled. And I feel like I get a great workout in too. You know what I mean? I think it's kind of whatever works for each person, but
100%.
Just having like the schedule base of it, like it helps me too, because when I go in and do workouts myself, like I'll still get a good workout, but I also give myself a lot more time to
Yeah,
rest.
yeah.
So then
for
it's
sure,
like
for
all
sure.
of a sudden an hour turns to 2, and it's like it's a great workout, but I just spent so
you
much
wasted
time.
a little bit of extra time.
That's
Cut
what I'm
the fat.
saying.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's great because that would work for, I can see how that works for you with a class like that.
Yeah. Well,
I see them hooks coming in pretty nice, man.
thank you, dude. I felt good yesterday, but I know that you started a basketball camp in your backyard.
Yeah, I helped start it. I can't say that it was all me. Everybody played a role in starting it, but it was birthed in my backyard. Shout out One Up Institute, which was a sick time.
Yeah, tell me about it, dude.
Super great time. It was during COVID 2020. This was just wild. And this just kind of taught me that like some of the best things just like happen. Just very natural, organic. They just grow and they just happen. People, places, and things. So it was 2020. I was coaching basketball. This was after years after getting in trouble or whatever. Probably 10 years later, 5 or 6 years into coaching youth basketball, enjoying it, trying to be a positive role model for the kids or whatever. I had 2 good friends that were very high level coaches, high level players as well. And so when COVID shut down, I just had a routine. Brandon would come over. Garbage was still being taken out. So I still had my 9 to 5. My day-to-day did not change with COVID, and I was grateful for that job. So, like, I'd go to work in the morning, come home, and, like, the rest of my day is, like, I'm going to work out. I had a couple weights set up by the pool. I had a pool in the backyard at my mom's house, and I would work out, I'd jump in the pool, and then we had a tennis court with 2 basketball hoops on it that I would just go shoot around. And this is what I did every day to just pass time. I'd come in, play some video games, and go to sleep, do it again, because the world shut down. There's nothing going on. So one day, my buddy Chris Evans, who is a fantastic basketball trainer, by the way, check him out, Chris Evans Basketball. I think that's his @ And he called me up one day. He was working with some kids, and he was like, yo, like, let's get a workout with the kids by the pool, and let's play some ball with them. So I'm like, bet, definitely. Like, pull up. Let's do it. So we're working out by the pool. Kids, we got a little circuit going on, and then we go play some basketball. And then my buddy Jeff happens to call me that same day, who is also a high-level trainer and player himself at the time. And he calls me, and he's just like, yo, what are you doing? I'm in your area. I was thinking about stopping by. I said, yo, funny story about that. You got to stop by. You got to come check this out. Because we always, had our small talks within coaching basketball at the JCC together. We always used to talk about, starting our own thing and just, having our own program, because we were always working for someone else, and we always knew that it was possible and tangible to work for yourself doing the same thing. And so, but doing it our way. And so, so Jeff calls me. He's like, I'm in the area. I said, yo, stop by. You got to stop by. And so he stopped by. He came. He saw. And, it kind of just naturally happened from that day. It was pretty crazy. His eyes lit up. We all looked at each other. We were just like, we got it. We could do this. They had the kids. Chris and Jeff together had a great list of families that they've worked with over the years. I had a couple years under my belt of working with the youth and whatnot. So I had my email list from being a coach. And so we sat down, dude, and we were just we should start this training during the summer, or COVID shut, locked down. It was summertime. We talked to my mom about it. She was cool about it. And 2 weeks from that day, we started a free week for the kids to just come check it out.
Oh, that's really dope.
Yeah, so we gathered all the material and resources that we could get, any weights, basketballs, anything. This was so out of the backyard. Went to Dick's Sporting Goods, spent money to get whatever we could get. And so we just had a whole bunch of stuff. And yeah, we started a free week where we probably netted, I don't know, maybe 25, 30 kids within that whole week, which was cool. Well, we were happy to see it. We were just happy to be doing something productive in this time.
Yeah, because it was hard to get things to move.
Yeah, and the beauty of it was that there was no other programs going on. The kids were kind of stuck in the house. So this was this was pretty pivotal at the time for a lot of people to just get out and be doing something, So we did that, and I ended up, at the time I was doing pretty well in the stock market by the grace of God. So I took some money out, and we were, I invested in turning the tennis court into a basketball court. So we repaved it, painted basketball lines on it, new rims, got made it official as best as we could. Built a little cool down tent because it was hot out there. I bought a bunch of sand and built a sand pit so the kids can get sand workouts. And so we just literally turned it into like a little sports facility. And that was just always like a dream of mine, dude. Like I love sports. I wanted to be an athlete. I was a good athlete playing sports. So like me working with kids after getting in trouble, being a dick about life, being able to like work with kids in that realm and just, you know, teach life through sports.
And be a positive role model.
Be a positive role model. Like I know kids, like I know that, all right, was I the best basketball player or the best basketball coach? Absolutely not. But I did things really bad at one point in my life that taught me pretty good lessons.
Yeah, and the thing is too,
Learn
like
how to teach that.
You also like, because of your previous experience, you know, getting in trouble and going to jail, it actually gives you another perspective where it's like, I've been through this.
I know what not to do. These guys know what to do. You know what I'm saying? So like I can see signs of going down.
And giving them guidance where you could see it right away. You're like, nah, I was you.
No, I can look you dead in your eyes and just be honest about anything, you know, like especially with kids. I've had parents come up to me and just be like, you know, why do they listen to you and not me? And I don't have an answer for that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm going to start pulling this to the end zone, but I got a couple more questions, dude.
Yeah.
You know, this is a question that you hear asked a lot, but I think I'd be curious what your answer is on this. Like, if you had the opportunity to say something to a younger you, what would you tell him?
I'd probably just slap the hell out of him, dude, and then see what he does, and then look him in his eyes. I know for a fact that a younger me, like when I say younger me, I'm thinking 15-year-old me.
Yeah.
Like right when I started like bugging out, would see me today and be proud. Like no doubt about it. He would be like, hell yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like definitely. But me looking back would be like, I want to kick this kid's ass. Show him like who he's not. You know what I mean? I would just probably praise and preach God because that's what he needed most. Yeah. Whether he believed in it or like whether it touched him or not, but like that's like the answer. That was the answer, you know, for sure.
What's some advice that you'd give to somebody who might be going down the wrong path right now?
I'm big on tough love because like you got to learn. Some things are just better off learned the hard way. So like I don't want to see anybody crash out to the point where it's like really detrimental, but like sometimes you just got to hit rock bottom, dude. Like if you're not going to take advice or help serious from people who care about you or support you, then like your only next best option is rock bottom. So like just brace for your fall, dude. If someone's going down the wrong path and I can identify it and I'm trying to sit and talk to them and they're like, yeah. Or like I could tell like they're acting like they care, but they're not really showing signs of like implementing change, then it's like just brace yourself for what's coming next. And when it does happen, just remember I was here trying to help you. You know, like one thing about me is like when I see certain coaches that did try to like prevent me from getting in trouble, I'm like super grateful for them even like taking their time to try and help me. You know, like I look them in the eyes and tell them like, yo, I love you and I wish I did listen to you. And like we can laugh about it now because like it's in the past, but like I really do wish that I listened to some of them because whatever my life has been different. Hell yeah, all they were doing was looking out for me. They saw the good in me and tried to save it before it was too late, you know? So like that was like my thing was like just let these people know that tried that you're grateful for that.
Yeah,
you know, for sure.
Phil, if you had one message to the world, one thing you want to be remembered for, you know, what would that be?
Just be a good person, man. Make people laugh, make people smile. Life is too short. Don't worry about what people think about you. Who cares what you do or what you drive or what you wear or like any of these external validations that the world makes you feel like you need. Dude, wake up and just give it your all, bro. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with the people around you. Tell people you love them. Life is very short. I remember like, you know, telling my boys that I love them was weird at first, but like you'll get by it, dude. Like if you really care about someone, they deserve to know. And yeah, just where I'm at, I want to be in service to others. I want to be able to help others, whether it's just a phone call or anything, dude. Like that's my biggest thing is I feel best when I'm giving. And that's why I love the camera so much is because it's my job to make you look good. And people like looking good. You know what I'm saying? Like when you take a good picture of someone, they love to see themselves look good. Or like you take a video of them playing basketball and they're just so thrilled the way they look. And that's what does it for me, man. It's just like, yeah, bro, just being a service to others. I think that's why we're here.
What are some goals that you have for yourself now that you want to see for yourself in the future?
I definitely have some financial goals and numbers that I have set for myself. I definitely want to, you know, get into real estate eventually. Would it be this year? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Kind of, we'll see when the right time comes. I definitely want to sharpen up my discipline, remove some of my habits that I've been, struggling with. Just simple stuff, nothing crazy.
Yeah.
I just I just want to be a better person. And how can I wake up and be a better person? That's just like I don't want to overshoot the top, especially as far as the camera. Having the year I had, I'm just grateful to be where I'm at with it now, and I'm excited to see where it's going.
And I think if you just keep doing it and stay outside, the opportunities always come and present themselves.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I'm not one of those guys that's making posts all over like hire me, like here are my prices, da da da. It's kind of just like the opportunities are, by the grace of God, are just falling into my lap, and I'm making the most out of them. And when you do that, it's like they just start to flow.
And it's kind of like what you were saying earlier, how your life can change like in the blink of an eye in like
it's crazy
30 seconds. Like
Very
you said,
crazy.
It could happen on the other side too. So you never know, dude.
Never know, dude. You never know what's in store for you. That's why you gotta just be grateful. And every day that you're having a bad day, just remember it ain't that bad. Really ain't that bad, dude. Seriously.
Phil, if people wanted to connect with you and find you, how could they?
You could find me on Instagram. My personal account is realphilly_. That's REALPHILLY_. That's my personal account. That's probably where I will follow you back. I don't really follow people back with the content account, but where you want to see my work with the camera, which is mostly sports videography, some pictures and whatnot. That is Frames by Philly at Frames by Philly. Yeah, so check it out. Would love to hear what you think. I appreciate my boy Mike for having me.
Dude.
Shout out RuneScape, bro.
I was gonna say, dude.
Shout out Cordell. We hope you bring home that belt. That is like, this dude is like really like, that's like some like big time shit.
I'm trying to think of when this episode drops. So what's this weekend? This week, what are the numbers? Hold on, let me.
You're talking about like this episode right now?
Yeah, because
I don't know.
There's a chance. Let's see. Let's figure this out real fast.
Shout out my mom. Yo, I love my mom.
You know
I
what?
love my
So
dad.
by the time this episode comes out, Cordell will have already brought home the gold.
He's bringing home, but like honestly, like that is huge for the town, and like what he's doing, like it's crazy, bro. It's really crazy, and I don't think it's getting the recognition it deserves, because like this is huge, bro.
It definitely will, and he'll take home the gold. It'll get its recognition. He'll come home, we'll celebrate him, but then he'll play Connect 4 and he'll lose, dude.
Facts. Coming for you in Connect 4 core.
Yeah, dude. But Phil, thank you for coming on the podcast, dude.
Nah, seriously.
Meet you in Lumbridge, dude.
Yeah. World 2 Valley, bro. Catch me scheming.